Hello, my name is The Great Metaphor, and welcome back to my developer Let's Play of Metatanks. When we last left off, we just beat the first mini-boss of Expert Episode 2. And if those levels weren't tricky enough for you, we are about to get into the real challenge. The start of this level can be tricky because of the kamikaze tanks, but overall it's not that bad. This footage was recorded last month, at the same time as the first episode, so my play might still be a bit silly. It might also be a bit silly because I'm not actually that good at this game. My commentary was made the week of release, assuming I stick with my normal schedule and release it on the first Friday of March. I picked up the cross-bomb power-up here, but in retrospect I don't think it was worth it. I beat the level this attempt, so I guess it wasn't that bad of an idea. And here is where things get nasty. Cross-bomb enemies firing unpredictable projectiles coming from every angle, mortars forcing you to move, kamikaze tanks just being themselves. Just one of the most brutal combination of enemies you can have, on a game where your hitbox is gigantic. It took me 2 minutes before I got a successful attempt. That is a very long time considering the successful attempt took less than 30. Actually, let's talk about that nasty difficulty. Expert 2 relies heavily on levels like this one. And maybe I shouldn't be saying this in a video that exists to say, my game exists, please play it, but I don't think that's a good thing. Dodging attacks that are coming from multiple directions is exceptionally hard, more so when they aren't structured. The player really isn't properly equipped to handle this much firepower coming from this many directions. When my friends and I were making the expert levels, I didn't really think about how fair that is or isn't, and I gave levels like this one the green light. I was too busy trying to make the game harder, to make up for the lack of difficulty I perceived in the base game. I guess I'll add that to the pile of things I need to consider for my future games, which will hopefully include both a new campaign to this game and multiple sequels to it I hope to make. If any other game devs are watching, maybe this can serve as an example to you as well. Okay, let's try to get back to the level and quickly talk about the strategy. First, you want to take care of the melee enemies. There's slightly less firepower above you than below, so dodge upwards. Once you have a bit more breathing room, if you can, try to focus on the top left and bottom right since those enemies are slightly easier to take down. Chances are you'll be more focused on dodging though, so just try to keep moving and try to focus your sight slightly in the direction you're currently moving. While I wouldn't call this level easy, it's a lot more simple than the last one. Just try to focus on clearing out one side while dodging the small bullets. Easier said than done, obviously, but there's not much else to say. This level's name, Tanker, is supposed to be a pun on Frogger. And this level is supposed to be a reference to Frogger. You'd be forgiven for not getting the reference. The limitations of the engine mean that this level was always going to be simple. Laser bunkers cannot have their starting direction set manually. It's always automatically set based off of their starting X and Y coordinates. All things considered though, it may be a good thing that there isn't an interesting pattern here. It would have been a nightmare if the bunkers didn't align to always shoot in a way that creates a consistent gap for you to pass through. Neither I nor this level's creator is a big fan of Frogger. How did this level even get in? I commend the creative use of kamikaze tanks in this level, but otherwise it's a pretty plain level. It feels like I'm a lot more critical of Metatanks in this video than the last. I really am proud of this game. I do think it's a decent game considering the circumstances of its creation. There's so much about it that I regret. That's a big part of the reason why I want to make a revision of this game, and a sequel to it, to fix those issues. And, well, another reason why I'm more critical is that this section of the game has some of the more out there levels in this game. Thanks, Facade. Another unnamed level. Look, this game has 150 levels. They weren't all going to have good names. The level itself is fine, though, although its campy nature means that it's not very much fun to watch. At least there is cover. There's another issue. The difficulty curve throughout the entire game is all over the place, especially in the base game. I don't mind a bit of variance in the difficulty curve, especially in a hard game. It doesn't always feel great to be hit with seemingly impenetrable wall after seemingly impenetrable wall. But sometimes the spread of difficulty makes no sense. But for the expert levels, I was insistent on a specific order. First the levels Terminal made, then the levels Commander made, then the levels Facade made, then the levels I made. It might have helped with theming, a little, but the theming in this game was never that strong. The limitations that I placed on myself fundamentally did not allow for strong theming. Plus, the way I programmed the game, reordering the levels would have been a pain. If you weren't paying attention, the last level was Bomb Rush. This level is Bomb Rush 2. This game isn't above having sequels to its own levels, but I think this is the only time where it's back-to-back. Forgive me for thinking Bomb Rush 1 was more fun. It made more creative use of explosives than this one. This one just surrounds you on all sides with enemies with no cover for like the 5th time. If Facade works on the retail version's campaign, I gotta keep him from doing that. Not that I'm innocent either, there's plenty of whack level design in Expert 3. A lot of hard levels in this game have really inconsistent starts. It took me 3.5 minutes to beat this level, and most of those attempts failed within seconds. Even after that, the level is hard. On the one hand, it wastes less time if you die early on. On the other hand, if you die too quickly, it can be hard to learn what you're doing wrong. Considering the levels in this game are already very short and you only have 1 hit point, I don't think having all the difficulty of levels be loaded in the first part of it was that great. High difficulty is hard to get right. Okay, strategy. The grenade tanks are scary for their fast projectiles, but there's less enemies on the left side. And grenade tanks can be made to whiff fairly often by wiggling back and forth as you move towards them. Keep moving and changing direction to mess with the enemy's shot leading. Friendly fire will take out most of the missile tanks, so focus on the remaining enemies on the left side once things calm down. Fearbongers, complete with typo. They're supposed to be fearmongers if that wasn't obvious. The crawlers are one of the last mini-bosses introduced in this game, and they are weird, even by the standards of the non-tank enemies of this game. They have 3 weapons and no visible turrets. Their main weapon is a missile launcher, which they shoot when they are crawling towards you and are trying to find footing. They use their flamethrower to defend against projectiles, or if you are close to them. And they can grab you with their legs and pull you into their flamethrower. Plus, their feet block projectiles. Despite being one of the most complex and consistent bosses, it's really hard to describe a strategy beyond the obvious things like don't get cornered, and use the grenade power-up since it's better against their defensive options, and the ever-so-classic get gut. Not every challenge has a high-concept solution, even if it's fair. There, main video done. Now all I need to do is record an outro and... Wait. Oh snap. This video is way too short. I need an entire extra minute to fill my quota. How do I pad this video out other than having this cheesy forced skit? Oh, how about a teaser for my next game? Meteor Pulse! Thanks for introducing the game, BitCrunched me. Meteor Pulse is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up inspired by 80s arcade classic Defender. Its main gimmick is a powerful ramming attack, the titular Meteor Pulse, charged by moving quickly. Admittedly, it's not in a playable state right now, but if you're interested, drop by the Discord server and I can hook you up with the beta version, which is slightly more playable. Links to both Metatanks and my Discord server will be in the description. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video to the end. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and play Metatanks for yourself.